pilots have arrived back at the control centre. They are feted by TV, radio and the press. They share their experiences of the race.
Yep. Okay, David, welcome back. That's why it's the first time it's been out of the UK, because we never won it before. We won it in 2000.
Minimised the looking through the previous races, and the distances are just. I know Willie Imers did, somebody did 3,600 clicks, didn't they, a few years ago. It's one of the third highest.
Well, this one, I reckon you've just broken another UK record for time.
You've only updated all
for time.
Yeah,
for size, 1,000 metre necklace.
Things I know we had.
Willie Imers is
UK.
Yeah,
UK.
Yeah,
I'm surprised they don't tick them off as it goes along.
No, he can't
see
search
now to
he's beaten some
area because of the. So they're hoping it's something.
We were trying to find a low-level track,
yeah,
which is about 70,000 feet, and it would give us good speed right up to that coast, that Black Sea. And that's when we thought we'd sneak in and win. We were heading for Varna. Just there. And
lovely beach at Varna.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Clive, just give us the very, very latest of what you know about the American pair.
Late yesterday afternoon we had some data sent from Circle Radar, and it's the Mode C transponder filter, which was not very good news. It showed that at the end of the flight there was a fairly rapid descent down into the ocean. So it's not the sort of news we wanted. There's always still hope, of course, but it's not looking very good.
What do you do from now? Or is it just time, or is the search going on? Or?
Well, I believe the search is still going on this morning. It's managed to pinpoint with the triangulation a bit more accurately exactly where they were, and we're just waiting.
I think from a Gordon Bennett point of view, up until Wednesday morning, it was perhaps one of the best Gordon Bennetts ever. The distances that they travelled, and the Swiss team, fantastic. Willie Imers from Germany did a fantastic flight. We were chasing him as normal. Tactically, we had to avoid Italian airspace at night. There was lots of tactics going on to slow down and speed up and turn left and right, and it was fantastic. It was 24/7 working to get the boys through. Just very sad that it's ended in tragedy like this, but I can assure you that the race will definitely continue.
Welcome back. How does it feel?
Well, it's odd. We landed in Serbia and we had to drive through the night to get back, and we got back this morning. It's always lovely to come back to your own home and sleep in your own bed.
How do you sum up the last few days for yourself and for the race?
Well, it's been highs and lows, of course. We were ecstatic that we got third place. And to put in perspective, if you look at the Swiss team, they've done about 100 gas flights. The Germans about 300. And Carey and myself, we've just done 2 together. And this is the first time we've ever flown this balloon. So it's like getting into a Formula 1 car and competing with the big boys and coming third. So we were absolutely delighted. And then slowly the realisation that Richard and Carol, their tracking system had gone down. And I just thought, well, he'd failed. And they were just floating along and going to sneak in and beat us. So it was this slow dawning from everybody that it could be bad news. I had a very good co-pilot. I mean, he must be the rookie of the century, and getting third place on his only his second gas balloon flight, so he did extraordinarily well. And we had a great backup team. We had Clive Bailey and John Mason. We had a wonderful backup team, so we felt at all times very, very safe. And I actually thought we would still sneak in and get it. I really truly did believe that, and we were pushing hard for that. And we did some good flying. We missed Italian airspace at night, which we couldn't fly into. Went right over the top of Rome, and for me that was the most critical time. And Carey's a professional airline pilot, and going right over 3 international airports, the air traffic control was pretty intense. So that's where he came into his own. And then we went over a pretty high mountain, and then we went into the old Eastern Bloc, and we were trucking very hard. But on the last day, we had quite a lot of balance, but we were quite light, and the weather really did change. and we had 3 or 4 problems all at once, and we thought, well, let's get this down. The British Gordon Bennett was one of the safest ever conducted. They checked, certainly me as a pilot, they checked our licenses, our medicals, they checked our VHF radios, our batteries, they checked our satellite phones. We had to take off and we had to prove we had immersion suits, life jackets, life rafts, ELTs. The great thing about a balloon, other than a small aeroplane, you can land anywhere and you can land at night. You don't need a runway, and that's one of the great advantages. And so it is a very safe sport. And unfortunately, if you look at the history of the sport, there hasn't been that many tragedies. This is, since the war, this is the big tragedy, other than an incident during the Cold War. But this is the only tragedy I can remember. And because of that, I think they will look at everything, and I think they will conclude that it was just bad luck in the end.
So you do it again?
I think all these times you always reflect, you always look at it, and at the moment you say never again. But you know, that soon wears off.
Thanks, Dave. Brilliant. Well done. Thank you.
Thank you. Who had the bloody phone going?
Thanks, man.
Sorry.
What kind of backup did you get from these guys back at base? I mean, how crucial is their role as well?
Absolutely crucial. Our backup was superb. I mean, this race was won as a team. We came third as a team. We did well as a team. It's certainly not down to the pilots. I mean, these guys steered us between Corsica and Sardinia, and they put us where we needed to be in Serbia to make a safe landing. So yeah, it's entirely down to the whole group as a team together.
So was their advice to you to come down, or had you made
No.
the decision yourself?
The one thing that they won't do is tell us what to do. I mean, that's aviation throughout really. It's down to the pilots to make the decisions, but they'll feed you the pertinent information to make sure that you have everything at your fingertips to make those decisions. And we did, and we could see the weather deteriorating. We weren't in a position ballast-wise to continue throughout a 5th night, certainly. So we had to land, and it was just a case of finding the safest place to land without damaging the balloon.
Fantastic. Well done. Thank you. Welcome back.
Thank you.
What was the landing like? Was it, I understand it quite
bumpy? Yeah, a bit brutal, I'm afraid. We got into a lot of weather. We had a bit of curl over, we had a bit of convection cloud, and so we had a few problems. We were very light. We were nearly 1,000 pounds lighter than when we took off from Bristol, so that really affects the flying conditions of the balloon. And Serbia, I don't know if you've ever been there, but it's just woods.
Right.
We went across hundreds of miles of woods with nothing. We couldn't put it down, and we were starting to think we might have to put this into the trees. And then we came up across a little village, and we struggled to get it down near civilization. We finally got it down. We were doing about 15 knots across the ground. We put the trail rope out, and that snapped, and we couldn't pull the top out, and we just simply couldn't do it. So we put it into the scrub and landed in the side of some trees, and that stopped us.
Because you have to use a lot of the next day or
Make a bit more noise, just bang the cups together.
Sorry. Sorry.
So, is that something you'd like to do again?
So yeah.
Well, I think with all these things you've got to.
He wouldn't get anyone else to fly with a bugger. Oh no, you know, gas balloon's fantastic. It's like going camping in the sky with your mates, and it's really enjoyable. You see the sunrises and the sunsets, and you know you can sit there drinking a cup of tea, and you can be doing 30 knots. You know, it's fantastic. You really burn up the ground. So it's a lovely sport, and I'll carry on with it.